I wouldn't be here if you weren't here. So I have no idea how you do what you do and how being that reflection back to us rather than a coach who says you have to do this or, that it's kind of like you just reflect us back and give us guidance and suggest, I really, really appreciate the time that you put in, the effort you put in, and none of it is half-baked. It's kind of like as if nobody else in the world exists. It's lovely. Thank you.
Imagine discovering a pathway that cuts through the noise of trying to heal, to instead offer you a clear, revolutionary initiation into your most connected, abundant, loved, and purpose-filled self. A place where your dreams transform into personal reality. I'm Allura Halliwell, founder of the Consciousness Method, and it's with deep gratitude that I connect with beautiful souls who have already experienced this transformative method firsthand. They'll share how it has profoundly changed their lives and led them into inner truth. Hello, Mikala. So happy to be here with you today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited to kind of dive into the journey you've had through this consciousness. Can you just maybe begin by just sharing a little bit about what it was like for you, sort of in your life in general, before we started the mentorship, and what it was you were looking for in this space?
Well, that's interesting because when I heard about you and your work, I kind of didn't really have any idea what it was all about. In fact, I was on a completely different tangent of being interested in near-death experiences and awarenesses and awakening and all the rest of it. And I heard about your story and I thought, oh, this is interesting, So I had the free half-hour conversation with you and went, okay, so I actually don't know where this will go, but this is interesting. This lady seems nice. Okay, let's give this a whirl. My life at that time was, well, I guess I didn't realize how kind of unconscious it was. I mean, that's the word I'd use now, whereas I thought I was quite happy at the time. And in fact, now that I think about it, I'm only 3/4 through the mentorship and I feel like my world's been turned right side up, but I didn't realize it was upside down, so it's been a real blessing in that regard, because even though I knew I didn't have boundaries, very good boundaries, I had no concept of the extent to which I'd actually given my power away. And not only that I'd given my power away, that I didn't even realize I had power in the first place, so that it went back so far. It was just, as I said, unconscious, had no idea. And for me, the amazing part, and this is the gem of the journey, is not knowing what you think you're going to have, having no expectations, I guess, of what's coming, is that through the mentorship, we've kind of taken current day events. So where normal psychology starts in your childhood and works its way up. And I've been interested in psychology and self-development for years, like all my life. I've done a psychotherapy diploma. So I knew all the psychotherapy theories, and none of it actually, it was all very interesting and I understood a lot, but none of it actually changed who I was. And I used to find that frustrating because people, I'd read about courses and they'd sort of say, oh, well, yes, well, in relation to money, you won't ever have abundance until you change your beliefs around money. I'm going, well, what are my beliefs around money? And why do I have beliefs around money? And, or, whether it's relationships, what are my beliefs? I don't know. So none of the learning that I'd done helped me change anything. And I think that's what I find is so different about this work, is because we take an event today that happened, and by unpacking that and looking at feelings and behaviours and thoughts, it's kind of like, you know, when you set up a row of dominoes and then you press one and the next one falls, the next one falls. So by unpacking one event that's recent, and then that knocks the first domino, and up comes another memory of an earlier event, and that knocks the next domino, and up comes the next memory, and the next memory, and all the way back to childhood. You know, and it's just like, oh, wow, I've been doing this stuff for a long time. No wonder it's unconscious. No wonder it's just so natural for me to behave this way or to run so fast or whatever I'm doing. And so what I found is like each of these events creates, you know, opens up this kind of thread right back to my childhood. And it's kind of like, oh, okay, now I get why I don't stand up to people, you know. And then this event over here, we unpack that, and there's the other thread that goes back to childhood. It's like, oh, wow, yeah, okay, now I understand, you know, why I don't say no, or, you know, I get pushed around, or I, you know, just don't value myself. And I guess what I've found is that there's all these threads together form this kind of tapestry, which is my identity. Mm-hmm. But I didn't realize that was my identity. I just thought I was me, you know. But it's kind of like, so, and then as we have in this course, sort of taken each thread and worked on it and dissolved it, it's kind of like a little bit more of I don't need to behave that way anymore once that thread's gone, you know, and more and more and more threads are dissolved. It's kind of like, wow, I don't have to operate blindly from the past. I can actually start to play in the present of doing something different, you know. And so I guess your identity kind of changes. And it's scary sometimes because, you know, when you've done something for so long as out of fear and I guess out of, you know, looking for security, and then you try and do something opposite in the face of all the evidence in the world of, you know, how you've done it before, that is really scary. But it's interesting because it's kind of like, it's one of those jumping off the cliffs experiences, and your wings unfold and you fly, kind of thing. So yeah, that's been the magic of the course. And as I said, I haven't even finished it yet. Yeah, that's just been amazing.
Oh my gosh, there's so much there that I absolutely love, Mikala. Huge, huge stuff. And just, yeah, some of those threads that I just heard then in reflection, just that sense of it no longer being a psychological mental understanding, but actually a lived organic reality-based experience where you're witnessing the construct of the identity and the roots and the threads of that go all the way back. And then you're being guided to see that thread, but then step into the unknown and step off the edge into the pain and fear around that to dissolve that so completely that you actually feel free in the present. And I think you've just encapsulated the whole design of this consciousness, because it's about liberating you now and allowing all that consciousness from the past to kind of support you to have the liberation now, which actually liberates everything. Which is just such a beautiful kind of timeline effect where the present just infiltrates the past and the future. So in those processes, one of them is that we kind of work more deeply with the pain and fear around the certain threads that we've witnessed. How have you found that journey to really anchor into that pain and fear design and to dissolve that?
Oh, it's funny, you know. I remember you saying at the beginning of the mentorship about the meditations we'd be doing each day and how, you know, they change over time. Not obviously the meditation itself doesn't change, but how you perceive it. It's like reading a book the second time or watching a movie the second time. And part of me went, yeah, of course it will not. Yeah, like how can it do that? But literally that is what happens. It's kind of like, and even rereading some of the course content as we move along, or as I've moved along, my understanding has been, I can't put words to it, frankly. Like if a situation comes up now and I feel fear around it, I think, okay, I'll go and do that meditation. And it doesn't matter what I'm bringing to the meditation. It kind of like, it literally morphs, you know, and allows me to go, And sometimes I go sideways, and it's kind of like, okay, we're actually not going to deal with that right now. We're going to deal with this thing over here. And it's kind of like, I've always wanted to be in touch with my inner voice. That's been one of the things I would love, have whether you call it intuition or your higher self or whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but I tend to be so busy in my life that I just ignore. I just run roughshod over a lot of it. And that's been one of the beautiful things I think has happened during meditations in particular, is that there's a space where this voice comes up and it's this natural kind of, have you thought about this, or what about this, or a memory will come up and I go, oh my goodness, I'd forgotten about that. And there's this relationship that is being created. It's all I can say to it.
Oh my gosh.
It's just, it means a lot to me, because I've never been one for gurus or teachers, and I've spent time in the church, and I walked away from the church because I went, no, you know what? I reckon I can see God everywhere, in every book, in every philosophy, in every religion. Don't tell me he's locked up in this one building with this one bunch of people. So, and that's been one of the things that I've learned very strongly through this course, is just getting in touch with what's inside of me. Everything comes back to me. It's, in fact, my whole life had been outwardly focused. And what are these people doing to me? And how do I survive these people? And it's just kind of, well, these people are doing what these people are doing, but how do you make it safe for yourself? And so the healing that I guess has come through not only doing that for myself in the present moment as an adult, but also going back and healing those aspects of me that, got stuck in the fear of an event or of whatever, of a program.
That's so powerful, because for me, that is like one of the cornerstones of what we're doing, which is that you have such powerful, energetic, physical, emotional sovereignty in this work, that you learn a pathway to liberate yourself, because then that's an ongoing evolution. That's something that you'll do for the rest of your life on some level, with that relationship with your consciousness, to go through that. So to have that reflected, that you've really developed that relationship and that's ongoing, for me, that's so important, because I do agree with you. There's a lot of modalities out there that really depend on the teacher or the something, when this is actually designed for you to find that all within yourself. So that reflection is really potent to hear as well for me. Yeah, it's big. And I know through this journey, you've sort of had the opportunity to witness your wounds. How has it been to find this concept of the core wounding and your understandings around it to illuminate more of yourself?
Oh my goodness me, even that was a side step for me, because we learned about the 3 core wounds, and I was pretty sure I knew what mine was, and I was, had that as my focus and all the rest of it. And then, I don't know, I can't remember what event happened, and in the chat, I think you sort of said, oh, I think I'd be looking at this other wound. And I kind of looked and went, oh, yeah, there I am. You see me. And, that just kind of opened up a whole new world of, okay, I get this. Okay, this is, oh, wow, I didn't see that one coming. So, and that's, I guess, where the difference, when I was saying right at the beginning about learning all the different modalities and the theories and all the rest of it, doesn't change anything. It's learning what is underneath that behavior, which you call the core wound, and the illusions and all the rest of it. And it's just kind of like, that's where the power lies, because that's when you realize and understand that we all have these core wounds. No one's better or worse than another. We're all just different flavors of the same ice cream, and just getting that ability to see, okay, not only was I operating from that and having compassion for myself and going, okay, I now have a choice whether I listen to the programs, the illusion, whatever you want to call it, that I'd set up to create create safety for myself, or whether I want to go, you know what, I don't have to do that anymore. Whereas trying to change a behavior is just like saying a mantra and hoping that, it'll make your life better. It just doesn't do it. And I found it very hard work and, wouldn't get anywhere. But when you understand why you do something, you can choose a new why. You can choose a new outlook or whatever. And so I found that very freeing, and not only for myself, but for others, because once I found myself and my own core wounds, then I can now look at other people, and even the behavior that used to sort of come at me like pots and pans, I go, oh, I get it. You're just coming from your core wound, rather than going, oh my goodness, I must be bad. Someone's yelling at me, or, and there's, elements of truth. So the whole thing must be true. It's kind of like, yeah, no, you're just projecting from your wound. That's fine. I'll just wait. So it's been really liberating, actually, to find that underlying, the undercurrent, and to have, I guess, I don't know, I can't explain it, how the awareness around it creates freedom in that regard. It's not your hands and make it go away. You still have to live with it, but you live with it in awareness.
I love that, because it's almost coming into a true relationship with reality and your relationships and yourself, as opposed to sort of being coated with this illusion of separation and fear and just a sense of being trapped in something that's not really yours, but you don't really understand what it is, so you don't really know the way through it. And I think you're right in saying the liberation comes when you understand the mechanism of reality, as opposed to continually thinking that you're the problem in the reality and that there's something wrong with you or there's something wrong with everybody else. It's a deeper underlying structure. And that particular consciousness, I believe, is one of the most liberating consciousnesses for humanity, because we then know we don't have the domination, coercion, control factors overriding us, because we can see our way through it, that it's just a program of the duality of our separation. It's not that our truth. So I love that that's resonated so deeply. And in real time, how is that changing your relationships? Like, how are you feeling like you can show up differently in those spaces?
Yeah, look, I've had some issues with people where I've just always felt unsafe around them, whether it's unpredictability or strong emotions or whatever. And again, if I'm blaming myself for it, then, it's kind of doubly dangerous in a sense. But through this work, as I said, I feel like there's this separation between me and the issues that used to upset me, I guess. I don't just take that on as myself and, oh, that's my fault. Yeah, aren't I a bad person? It's kind of like, yeah, there might be some stuff I need to look at myself, and this might be some of your stuff. So I feel like if things have more of a, I guess, when things were overwhelming for me emotionally, I guess one of the reasons I felt so unsafe in the world was because I didn't feel like anything had an edge to it. Everything was just overwhelming, like being dumped in the sea, when the big waves just come one after the other. And now through doing this work and learning about the core wounds and stuff like that, I feel like I have a skin, other people have a skin, and I can relate to them in a safe manner. And if they go off their tree because of whatever, I can let them do that. And as I said, it just doesn't bowl me over the way it used to. I can look at it and I go, okay, yep, I can see I need to change something about that. Yep. And we have a conversation about it. So yeah. And I guess also too, I've realized some things that happened in my childhood that weren't great, that I hadn't any idea about, and that sounds like a weird thing to say, but it's kind of like when you are so far deep in survival that you can't even look at the fact that you're surviving. It's this, double negative of blindness and deafness and muteness. I was mute, very mute. I couldn't speak up. I didn't know I had a voice, let alone be able to use it. So even getting in touch with like the anger that I feel about what happened, not that, it's just, and that's a new thing. I was so dumbed down emotionally. I always intellectualized, oh, no, well, it's okay. They were damaged and la. And it's just kind of like being able to get in touch with, you know what, that just wasn't okay, and that helps me in other relationships and issues, it's kind of like, oh, well, I can say that's not okay. So I feel like I've got a voice. It's going to take me a while, I guess, to live into and to fill those new shoes. But yeah, definitely feel like I'm, as you would say in one of your, I feel like I'm being rewired from the inside out.
Oh, it's so beautiful, Mikala. And I can feel your resonance. Your whole being has shifted. Like the whole energetic design of you is so different and so present, and not different as in better or, like there was a problem, more so just more you-ness and uniqueness of you, and your essence is just here and in full expression. And doesn't feel like there's any part of you that is in resistance to you being present in that. And that's a beautiful gift. There's no separation of parts that are needing to hide or be in fear or try and protect themselves. It's just you're all here, and that's just such a beautiful gift. And from that, I've noticed that you've developed this relationship to the universe and the cosmos in a greater level. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that? Because that's just such a profound gift when you have that relationship with yourself and then you take it to that next level with everything around you. I love that. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, look, it's interesting. In the past, I've felt like there were times that there might have been a day or max 2 days, but generally just a day here and there where I would consider like I was in the zone, kind of like when the tennis players, when they're in the zone, they just can't make a wrong move. But I've now lost count of the number of days I've had, probably in the last couple of consecutive days of, oh my goodness, that was an amazing day. I can't believe how things lined up. And it's kind of like, as I said, it's being in the zone, but it's always almost going with the flow. And I learned that probably 10 years ago. I was very much a list-based person. I was busy. I was managing a property, so there was always heaps of stuff to do. So I'd have a list, and I've got to do this, and then I've got to do this, and then I've got to do this. And so often something would come in from left field, and I'd have to, throw the list out and go off and do something else. But initially I used to get really frustrated with that, because I wanted to get my list done, because my list was where I got to every time I ticked the list, I got a hit of adrenaline or dopamine and got, yes, it's a success, So I learned a long time ago to go with the flow, and that things, and that's when I said I'd started to discover those days where I'd been in the zone. Whereas now, as I said, it's just kind of like, that's my everyday, to the point that I've even given the universe the name flow, because that's exactly what my day feels like. I'm in this flow, and I almost have this relationship with, if you like, I with the greater, whatever it is, cosmos, whatever. I don't know. I don't want to put a name on it personally, but from just a personal name, I call her Flow. And yeah, it's just that's been the charming side of, or one of the charming benefits of doing this course, is feeling more aligned with the flow of what's going on around, and as I said before, hearing that inner voice. And sometimes it's like this conversation. It's, I'll be going, okay, so I need to do this. And this word will come into my head, traffic. I'm going, what do you mean traffic? Oh yeah, that's traffic. Oh yeah, okay, well, I won't do that. Oh no, but there's not going to be enough traffic. Oh yeah, traffic. And we have this argument. It's going, okay, I get it, Flo. I get it. We're going this way. And it always ends up better than I could have ever planned. Do you know what I mean? It's magical. It really is. And it makes life fun.
Oh, that's so special. I'm just beaming. I just think it's so divine. And yes, there isn't really a word, but for me, it sounds like wholeness. Like there's a wholeness within you that's connected to everything around you. So there's not that gap. It's like you're connected. And when you're connected, you just are. Everything is symbiotic and in flow and synchronistic. And then you feel it. And even when it's not, you're like, oh, wow, great opportunity for a deep dive, which is exactly what you shared before. It's like, oh, there's something here. I'm just going to follow that thread. And so then it's that dance, and there's nothing that we need to fear in that dance because it's just so beautifully orchestrated and connected. So I'm so just loving that description of it. So if there was someone that was sort of listening to this and thinking, oh, should I go and have experience this work or not, what would you kind of say if you were talking to your sort of a version of you that was unsure about this? What would you say to her?
Oh, yeah, look, without a doubt, I step in with both feet. And that was a decision I made very early on in this mentorship. Like 12 weeks feels like a long time when you sign up, but it is a finite time, and it's such a wealth of opportunity. That I made the decision very early on just to suck the marrow out of the bones of the course, to do everything I was asked to do and some, and just really apply everything as hard as I could, because I could see very quickly the goal that was there and the transformation that could be if I was courageous enough to do it. So the fact that, and what makes this course so different is the one-on-one, mentorship, I guess, is the word you've used, but it's kind of like one-on-one coaching, if you like, through the chats or the calls or whatever. It's not kind of, oh yeah, just go and read this chapter and meditate on that. Do you know what I mean? It's live. It's right now. It's visceral. It's here. I don't understand this. Here's the answer. Okay, am I doing this right? Kind of. Try this. And that closeness of feedback just means that it's the potential is exponential. Whereas everything else, you kind of, it's kind of like reading a book, I guess, and even going to therapy. I mean, I've been to therapy, even just recently I've been to therapy, and I end up writing to my therapist, say, look, I'm not coming anymore. I'm doing this other course, and I don't need you anymore. Because I was learning nice theories and having some nice aha moments, but seriously, this is where the change lies.
Oh, Mikala, so grateful for you. Just so grateful for you walking this path and for yourself, and just to be able to speak it and hear it just feels very, very, very deep for me, because I can see you as this actualized being who's actualized yourself. Like, you just feel so powerful in that, like true, deep essence power, which for me is just what we're all here for. And so to hear you express like that and to know yourself and to know there's a pathway for you now feels like the greatest liberation there is. So thank you so much for your beautiful words, and thank you so much for committing to yourself in this journey, because it's just an honor for me to be a part of your journey and to hear and feel the reflection of that. And I'm so excited to see how life and flow unfolds.
Well, I've got to say thank you to you. I mean, seriously, I wouldn't be here if you weren't here. So I have no idea how you do what you do, and how being that reflection back to us, rather than a coach who says you have to do this, or that it's kind of like you just reflect us back and give us guidance and suggest. I really, really appreciate the time that you put in, the effort you put in, and none of it is half-baked. It's kind of like as if nobody else in the world exists. It's lovely. Thank you.
Oh, my absolute pleasure, because it's true. I just have full focus on you and full focus on your consciousness when I'm with you, and you're my number one priority. Like, everyone is just my number one priority in every moment. So I'm so glad you feel that authentically, and that's that template, right? Because you become your number one priority in that, and then you have spaciousness for everyone around you. So I'm so glad you felt that so deeply. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure to spend this time with you, and to say thank you, I'd like to share with you 3 beautiful meditations to explore your core wounding, and a collection of masterclasses. You'll find these in your show notes. And if you feel the synergy to this path, know that it is available to you also.